In case you guys didn't know, it's old as dirt.
Yo, I've been dirty for the past 10 years.
All right, well, just like the rest of the world, I have been quarantined to work from home, but going a little stir crazy, so I figured I'd douse myself in some Purell and stop by the shop so I could work on this thing. Because Zach's over here working on a big car, so I figured I'd show him what a real big body car is like.
Whoa, stay 6 feet, bro, come on. Don't.
Hey man, what's up?
No, dude. It's here.
This is the new shit.
Wait.
Oh, you want to do the, all right, one and then the back?
Yes.
How did you get stuck working on Scotto's car?
And it was supposed to be a really simple job, like, oh, just put in this brake master cylinder, and as it turns out, I gotta like cut the lines off and flare them, but they're like still on the car, and like there's barely enough.
Wow, that's a little bit of self-clearancing there. This is my favorite thing, because I actually watched Scotto pawn this off on Zach, and it was amazing, because Scotto was like, oh, I just gotta change the booster, direct bolt on, just quick change. And that was like 2 days ago.
By the way, why did you pull up in here like full-blown dickhead status?
Well, because you're working on the big body, so I figured I'd work on the big body. But if I parked it straight, you couldn't see the fitment. Like, cause then you're just looking at the front of it. But I want to make sure that we get all the sauce in there, you know? But before we go any further, gotta take a second. Thank today's video sponsor, Kove speakers. This speaker is not like anything else that is on the market right now. It's the new Commuter 2, and honestly, they're super helpful around the shop. All you gotta do is connect to them with your Bluetooth, whether you're having a party or just kind of kicking it.
Or if you got a jalopy that doesn't have a stereo, you get to boom in there. Wait, check it out. This is why these new ones are dope. It plays in stereo, right? But when you disconnect it, you get a left and a right input. All right.
This thing is super loud.
Yeah, right? So then, you could be working over there. I could be working over here, we can both have tunes. So it's water resistant, a single charge gets you up to 7 hours of playtime.
And let's be honest, it's 2 speakers in one. How much better can it get? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna offer over 60% off down in the link in the description below. Make sure you click it, grab some speakers. It's super helpful to have around the house or at your shop. Or if you're just quarantined at home and you have nothing to do, better to have good sound quality. So go buy one or 2. I've been procrastinating on doing some maintenance, but I also wanna make this thing a little lower. Quick.
How are you gonna get lower?
In the front, because you see, the problem is here is that doesn't match that. So I want to make the front just like a ½ inch lower, which is actually pretty easy.
How do the wheels fit in it?
Actually, the control arm hits the strut tower up top, so I'm just going to drill a hole, and then it should be able to go up further.
That's it, you're just gonna cut a hole in.
Well, I gotta like figure out where the hole goes and drill a little pilot and then do that. But I also gotta do control arm bushings because these are shot. The wheel fitment is so tight in the back that I've actually been scratching the wheel every time you raise and lower the car. So it's like little curb marks. So I'm gonna show you a really easy way to fix that. Without a fender roller, without a jack handle, without wood. Really, really simple. First thing I'm gonna do is the control arm bushings because these are super sloppy and I've been meaning to do it for a little bit. I actually was turned on to a pretty simple idea that the homie Marcos, the Subaru Time Attack dude, turned me on to this. You actually, instead of replacing just the bushing, you can get a full lollipop with the mount and everything, and these are off of a later model like IS250. Apparently this makes the job way easier to do, way faster, and less headache. So let's jack this thing up, get to work. Got the old bushing out on the passenger side, which actually doesn't look that bad. The problem and the noise which made me want to do it came from the driver's side, but did the passenger side first. This is the new one that we're putting in. Here's a part number if any of you guys are LS people looking to upgrade. So yeah, one piece aluminum over some steel. I think the bushing's a little bit stiffer. Also, I think there's a caster gain you get out of this, but honestly, I don't really care. It's not a performance car. So just gonna throw this back in and then do the driver's side and see how terrible that is, and then we'll get on to the fun stuff, which is lowering the car. Got the control arm bushing in, super easy. So basically, this car doesn't require much clearancing to get as low as it is now. I mean, pretty much we bolted the suspension on, figured out the ride height and the ride height sensor controls, all that stuff. A lot of people know there's one thing to do if you want to get a car a bit lower and it has an upper control arm that hits the strut tower, which is right here. You can see the upper ball joint comes in contact with the upper strut tower. What we're gonna do is take a hole saw and drill from the top down and give it a little bit clearance so that this part right here could go up into the engine compartment, and it should give us like another inch or so of travel, which would be great. Yo, electric drills are straight up the most dangerous thing ever. Just waiting to get destroyed on camera. Would you look at that? Oh no, we're good. Yeah, that's actually, for not measuring, spot on.
Nice.
I felt it on the bottom and met my finger on the top. That's why people like me don't learn a lesson, you know? Like if I f***ed up really bad, I'd be like, God, I really should measure next time, but, you know? It's working great now. Soupy, what do you think?
Well, what?
What do you think about my big chrome rims?
I don't like chrome.
They're not chrome, they're polished.
Well, yeah, okay.
You want this car? I'd make you a good deal.
No.
I'll trade you this
There's
car
never-
straight up for your Mark IV Supra. I'll do you a favor. I'll take it right
Straight
off.
up?
Straight up.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
Man, they would,
Look, man, I just want to welcome you with open arms to the family.
Let me think about that. No.
All right, so we got the front all dialed in. It's about a ½ inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch lower now as it sits, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked on that. And I wanted to show people something that I didn't really get to cover in the video I made a while ago. It's pretty much how you could roll your fenders using magazines. So my fitment is super tight. I learned this when I did it the last time and I had no idea this actually even existed. So all you gotta do is take a bunch of old magazines or textbooks. You could start out with like one and then scoot it all the way up to however much you need. But the nice thing about this is when you use a fender roller, you're essentially pulling the fender out and you're rolling it back and forth. And you could get like waves in your fender or, you know, kind of push it out in the wrong spots. But this is actually the best way to do it, I feel, because you get a really nice gradual pull on it without being too aggressive.
Are you trying to clearance your fender?
Yo, works great.
Are you really clearancing your fender?
Yo, it works great.
Yo, is this really a thing?
Yeah. See, look at that nice pull it gives it.
Let me see.
Woo! See? And it gave it just that little extra bit of clearance that you need. Back when you were doing it, like that was the only media that you had. Like
Yeah,
it was
did.
like scribing in stone and then magazines. Like the internet wasn't around yet.
Oh, we had pterodactyls to deliver. Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. Quick episode on the Lexus, little update on the suspension, some boring maintenance stuff like control arms, made it a little bit lower, and maybe you learned something by learning how to use magazines for proper use now. Not really much else to do to this car. It's just Amy's daily, so I don't know. Maybe we'll put a bunch of Junction Produce stuff on it to really rice it out. But other than that, pretty stoked on how it looks. Man, that is the most boring looking engine bay you could ever have. This isn't even that new of a car, and it is just covered in plastic. There's a V8 in there, bud.
Could have fooled me. I can't see anything.